Hi people, it's Archivist here, hope you're doing well, and today I have yet another Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel video for you. We have two games here. First of all, Blue-Eyes White Dragon versus Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon. I do genuinely enjoy going up against Blue-Eyes decks. When my opponent reveals his Blue-Eyes to me so he can summon out his alternative, I'm actually getting a smile on my face because it's a fun deck to fight. The combos aren't overly egregious, it's not so easy that it's a walkover, it's just a fun deck to go back and forth with. When there's a good thematic matchup, like I like the ideas of dragons buttoning dragons, so Galaxy-Eyes Photon versus Blue-Eyes, yeah, I'm quite down with that. Not as good as Red-Eyes versus Blue-Eyes, that is just so iconic, I love it when I get that. But Galaxy-Eyes versus Blue-Eyes is pretty good as well. And then the second game, which you'll see in a little bit, was me going up against Dragonmaids. This deck, is quite tricky to take on. It's often the fusion monsters that I have the most trouble with. They can give themselves very high attack power, and I must say in this game I did almost give up until I just noticed one final play I could do using my Soul Flare Dragon, where I could bring an Afterglow Dragon back to my hand, combine that with a Galaxy Eyes and get out my absolute MVP boss monster. Well, at least, you know, I think it's the best monster in this deck. Number 62, Galaxy Eyes Prime Photon Dragon. Like, it's my ace card, I would say, in this deck. Even more so than Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon itself is Prime Photon Dragon. I love it. You can get it to such high attack points. And, well, in this game, he just surrendered when he saw it. I think it was simply because my attack power surpassed his and he didn't have any more effects left that he could use, but I would have been able to detach an Afterglow Dragon and get a final strike on, you know, literally before he surrendered. I mean, I've got nothing wrong with people surrendering because sometimes you just don't have any more moves in your hand. But when you are right about to go for the killing blow, it does suck a little bit. I wish they'd just wait a moment. You know, I certainly do that. If I know I'm about to die, I do just wait. Maybe if my opponent starts summoning for no reason, I'm like, look, you've already killed me. Maybe I'll do it then. But when I know they're about to go for the killing blow, I'm like, sure, go for it. And I think if you allow that to happen, maybe I'm wrong, maybe they've changed it, but I'm sure you actually get more rewards for losing if you just lose rather than surrendering. Maybe I need to double check that, but I think that might be the case. So yeah, those are the two games in the background, and I've been making this content now for I think about 2 weeks, right? And I've been really enjoying it, hoping I can continue to do more decks. As I was saying even last week, harder and harder to make more decks. I'm still slowly working on my Dark Magician deck, but making this Galaxy-Eyes Photon deck did bring me back a little bit, but I just really wanted to make this deck. I really like the theme of it. So I thought today I might quickly discuss some of the things I've learned from playing Master Duel, keeping in mind that I'd still definitely call myself a returnee, not an expert in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! At all. Just someone who got into Duel Links not long before Christmas, was really enjoying the nostalgia trip because I used to love Yu-Gi-Oh! When I was younger, watched the anime Duelist Kingdom and Battle City, and I'm coming back to the game, but I've learned some things that I think are making me a better player. First and foremost is about balancing your deck so you don't get a bricked hand. One of the worst things you can do is just stack your deck in a way where maybe you've just got a bunch of monsters that are really powerful in their own right, but are quite tricky to summon. And if you've got too many of them in your deck, the likelihood you'll get a bricked hand is quite high. So whenever I'm trying to craft a deck, the first thing I do and I recommend doing is going into the solo mode, like one of the really easy ones as well, and just keep playing the game and see if you get consistently okay hands. Like, they don't have to be killer combo hands every single time, but they've got to be playable. And if you keep doing it and you're routinely getting these hands where you can't play anything, or you can just throw down a single monster that will get obliterated, you know that taking it online, it might not do you so good. So balancing your deck out to give you hands that are playable every time, that is number one, and certainly something that at first I was messing up a little bit. I was a bit too tempted to put all the powerful cards in, but then I had no real plays. So that's number one. And obviously, if you're having any trouble with it, simply take some inspiration from decks you might find online. Even myself, I've got a few deck profiles for Red-Eyes Black Dragon, Cyburst, and Galaxy Eyes if you'd like to see them on the channel. So if you want just a template to go off, feel free to mimic mine, but there are some better players I can certainly say that you can mimic as well. Another thing is to respect the negate. There are so many crazy combo decks in this game where they'll summon monster after monster until they build up to their most powerful bosses, but if you can just interrupt them at the right time, you can stop their crazy combo and you can hopefully leave them in a place where you can take advantage of that. There are means of doing it from the hand, like I think now like Notorious Ash Blossom. You can use Max C, which won't necessarily interrupt them, but it might deter them from wanting to special summon anymore, and if they don't, well, you end up drawing so much you can potentially obliterate them on your next turn, or you might even draw into a hand negate. And then just looking at your deck archetype and seeing, is there anything in this archetype I can use to negate things? Like in Red-Eyes Black Dragon, Slash Dragon was quite good by detaching its attached warrior, and then you could negate an effect targeting someone on your side of the field. Or with Galaxy-Eyes, there's number 38, which can negate the activation of some spell cards and can actually take them and use it as an Xyz material, which is pretty nice. So understanding negates and knowing when to use them, I think, is a very important part of playing the game as well. Another important thing I found, and I suppose this does tie into deck consistency, is making sure you have good searchability, and this is usually found simply by staying within an archetype. So, you know, you can balance the probability of getting your key critical cards into your hand just by adding more of them into your deck. So for me, Galaxy-Eyes Photon Dragon is an important card from some of my big Xyz combos, but I don't want to just rely on drawing it into my hand. I might want to use Galaxy Expedition to pull it from my deck to the field in defense mode for an Xyz play. I can use Star Liege Lord Galaxian to detach material and then bring it from my deck or my hand to the field. Or there's like Galaxy Wizard who I can tribute and bring it to my hand. Lots of different methods, and it's important to have many different methods because then you don't have to rely on the sheer probability of drawing the key card. You just need one of those cards or a combo of cards that can bring it to the field or into your hand. A lesson I'm still actively trying to work on is the art of going first. Something that doesn't happen to me that often, it seems, but when I do, you've got to be careful to not exhaust all of your resources so that if your opponent manages to wipe out your first play, you've got nothing left but that single card you draw. But at the same time, you can't leave yourself defenseless because there are so many decks that can kill you in one turn that just throwing down a monster in defense position might genuinely not be enough to stop you from being killed. So finding the balance, and I often find it's important to go into cards that are capable of negating. It's why I have Cyber Dragon Infinity in this Galaxy-Eyes deck, so that when you go first, you have means of, if your opponent decides to try and wipe out your field, you can try and stop them by activating negates. And then finally, I think it's just important to have fun, which sounds very cheesy, but it's an element of building your deck, right? So although there are certain things we need to consider when making it competitive so that we don't just lose all our games, at the same time, if you don't really care for the cards you're putting in your deck, if you choose a meta deck that you don't actually enjoy playing just because it's very competitive and will win a lot, well, those victories are going to feel very hollow. And it also means that when you do lose, it's going to be all the more frustrating because you only chose that deck for the means of victory, and if you're not winning and you're not having fun getting to the victory, well then a loss is going to hurt all the more. So I think the right move is to try and find the balance of a deck that you enjoy thematically, and then trying to make the deck as competitive as you can without compromising what you enjoy about the theme. That's what I try to go for. So these have been some little lessons I've learned after 2 weeks of playing Master Duel. As always, people, thanks very much for watching and see you next time.